Okay. Okay, everybody knows it says Baruch hamakom Baruch hu. Baruch shenam Yisrael Baruch hu. K'neged vonu Torah. Echad Chacham, Echad rasha, Echad tam. Echad she-eino yodei-a. Baruch hamakom. Honeged shaylas Chacham. Baruch hamakom. You see what it is? Before we answer the questions to those four sons, basically we are preparing the ground for them. Basically, in a very, very deep, deep way, we already giving you the answer in one word. So when I say Baruch hamakom, I already answered the shadow of the Chacham. But then I explain. And then when I say Baruch shenatan Torah Am Yisrael, I already answered the shaila of the tam. But then I'll answer more. Let me just tell you outside and then we'll learn inside. You know, this world is mamish torn apart. On one hand, there's so much oneness in the world, right? Why do we have this awesome longing for oneness, right? Awesome. Why is there so much longing for love? Because love is oneness, right? There's an awesome, awesome longing for oneness. And yet the whole world is, everything is two. Everything's divided. Day, night, summer, winter. I have two hands, I have 2 feet. There's the sun, there's the moon. There's the earth, there's the ocean. Right? Everything is two. And yet everything is one. And he's so deep, you know. I just need you, mamish, and myself also. You know, when you meet a person, and in their presence you have no place in the world. Have you ever noticed this? There are some people, in their presence you don't exist. Why? Basically they're right. I'm I and you're you. We are two. You know what it means to make a place for you? This is the secret of oneness. When I feel one with you, I make a place for you. So where is God's oneness shining in the world? That this world is God's place. And God makes a place for us. You know, I'm walking into a house. When do I feel one with the people in the house? I suddenly have a place, right? And I want you to know something very, very deep without getting political, just take it in. You see, the world wants to take away Israel from us because this is mamish God's place, right? Basically, they want to throw out God from the world, right? Simple as it is. So this is mamish. And where does this begin, you know? When did God make a place for us? Basically, the moment God began creating the world was already two, right? Was God in the world. When was this oneness? Was this split second, so to speak, before God created the world? This one deepest split second. Oh, you know something? You know, why is it sometimes you say goodbye to a person? You know what means goodbye? We are two again, right? Why is that so deep? Because one split second before you say goodbye, you must feel the oneness between us, right? So deep, right? When do we feel one with God the most? 1 second before Yom Kippur is over, right? By Ne'ilah. Gevalt is deep, right? I want you to know, why do I kiss the Gemara when I finish learning? While I'm learning, is basically me and the Gemara too. I'm learning, and the Gemara is the Gemara. Then I close the Gemara, and I realize there is no me and the Gemara. There's only one, right? I'm telling you this because it's good to remember this is a Torah which, mamish, like cash Torah. I don't know if I told all of you, but Reb Shlomo Carlebach told me there is Torah which you can keep in the bank in your head, and then there's a Torah which you need cash all the time with you, you know. So this is the cash Torah. What was he saying now?
Kissing the Gemara.
The Izhbitza, you know, there's a Sefer Dorich stories about Izhbitza, about the rabbis. So he writes, you know, the Izhbitza would learn every night from 12 to 4 with Chassidim. Unbelievable. Every night from 12 to 4. There was no rabbi in the world who was doing that much for his Chassidim, you know. But then he writes that you didn't last more than 3 weeks. You barely, this was it. Then you had it. Why? Because Rebbe learned from 12 to 4, right? Then you were so up, you can't go to sleep, right? Then you come down a little bit, you run to the mikveh, and the Rebbe begins to daven shachas. The Rebbe davens till 2 in the afternoon. By 2, you're out, right? So you go to sleep, but yet you want to be there when the Rebbe davens mouth. So let's say you wake up 6, 7, you slept yourself till 12, then the Rebbe's learning. So after 3 weeks, your mamish, you fell apart. So they had those, shifts. One learns this 3 weeks, and the other group comes the other 3 weeks. So he writes that the learning was gevalt. But the greatest moment was when the Rebbe closed the Gemara, and he kissed the Gemara. And the way the Rebbe kissed the Gemara, that was the deepest learning in the world. Gevalt. And you know what he says? When was God most one with the world? The moment the creation began, that split second, we're already 2. That one split second, the one split second, because why did God create the world? Because he loves the world so much, right? Why did God create us, right? Gevalt, right? Can you imagine with how much love God created the world? So this, what is our place in the world? This one split second, by God's second is always there. But this, Mamish creating the world, making a place for us, this is the deepest, our place in the world. Okay, right now, it's a long term, but if I translate every word, it'll take us 10 years, but I'll translate the most important words. Baruch hamakom meneged shailas hachacham. The Baruch hamakom, you know what hamakom means? It's a little bit revealed, and everybody knows who. Blessed is he, that means it's completely hidden. So it's always Almed is Galye and Almed is Kassi. It's almost a little revealed, a little hidden. So the Chacham is asking basically on the level of Almed is Galye. He's asking on the level of revelation. Listen to me, favor. There's a Yidel waiting there for me. Tell him he should, in a few minutes, we'll have time for him, yeah? Please wait. Tell him he should come in and sit down. Why do we call God place? The Gemara says we are calling God place because God makes a place for the world, but the world isn't really his place. That means God is making a place for the world, but he himself is beyond the world. Moke means azoy sane kudem as cholos erotzen. Nehmen wir samte mokum am Yisrael. You know, when did God make a place for us Yidden? Because basically the truth is God created the world for us. God created the whole world, but mamish like when God made a place, it's mamish for us Yidden, right? Mamish for us Yidden. Like, I have to tell you something very important. The world thinks that Israel is holy. Yerushalayim is more holy. The Holy Temple is more holy. And the Holy of Holies is more holy. It's the other way around. The Rambam says, first there's the Holy of Holies, right? The world begins with the Holy of Holies. And then the Holy Temple is holy, because it has in it the Holy of Holies. Yerushalayim is holy because it has in it the Holy Temple. Israel is holy because it has in it Yerushalayim. The whole world is holy because the land of Israel is in the world. Right? It's unbelievable, right? Starts from the Nekuda, from this one little point, then it's expanding. Heine shilo osit yemani Hashem izbor she-eika hamokom bo yisrotzen klama shekol koiter v'mechuvan Hashem izbor b'rtzon v'rak b'shu Yisrael she-Yisrael hem nekudas hamerkaz. You know, who's the center of the world? Who's the center of the world, you know? When you really, mamish, open your eyes and you look at the world, crazy. We Yidden are a small little nation, right? Basically, we are insignificant in the world. Everything in the world turns around Yidden, right? Not to be believed. I think I told you I was in Russia for 1 week, and every morning they would put in an English newspaper for the tourists under the door, right? Listen, I come to Russia. So tell me something about Russia. There was nothing about Russia in it. The whole thing was only about Israel. Not to be believed. Usually the headlines was that Russia wants to bring peace to the world, Israel doesn't let. If not for the Zionists, there would be no war in the world. You know, take Germany. What do they have to say? Well, Germany is a big country. You want to get rid of the Jews, get rid of the Jews. Everything is around Yidden. Everything is around Yidden. Let me ask you, there's so many problems in the world. Millions of people are dying from hunger. They don't talk about this. Whatever happens in Israel, the world is turning over. Because obviously, here's the headquarters. And what's the headquarters? The headquarters is the Rabbi Mamish. Where's the Rabbi the one that's shining? Like from here, right? When the Sati Mokum Nami Yisrael. Okay, I'll make it just, because the words are very deep, and I'll just tell you a little bit. I'm in the middle. V'zehu Baruch hamakom shehu neged shaylas ha-Chacham. Do you see it? Baruch hamakom. This is what the Chacham is asking. Ki ha-Chacham shoyel Can you close the door, brother? Because the Chacham, yeah. A few minutes, let's come back. A few minutes here. You know, in one sentence, the Chacham is asking, there's this tremendous contradiction in the Torah. On one hand, it's clear to me that the Torah is mamish in the world, right? Remember we're learning it? It's not because there's an ox in the world that there's a Masechta of a Kama. What happens when your ox is, how do you call it? What? Go on somebody. It's on the contrary, because there's a Masechta of a Kama, right? And therefore God had created an ox. That means it begins from top, not from the bottom, right? It sounds funny, but there's something so deep to it, right?
But rasha was created also before the world?
Yeah, you remember learning yesterday, the beginning is always Torah Shabbat Peh, right? But it's so high, what's coming down first is Torah Shabbat Peh. I mean Torah Shabbat, but Torah Shabbat Peh is still like between us and God. Beini u'bein bnei Yisrael. The Chacham is asking, why has God chosen us? Why has God chosen us? So God has chosen us because the first thought of God when He created the world was Yidden, right? Listen to me, I'll tell you something. I'm going to Paris, right? I want to see all of Paris. But deep, deep, deep inside, there is someone in Paris I like very much, and I hope I'll find her, right? So I'm going to Paris, but what I really want, you know? So I'm the same, the guy created the whole world, but what he really wants is us Yidden to serve him. So first it says, Edus, you know, when do you need witnesses? When you have to find out which is the truth. The truth is already means there are two sides, right? And also, you always need two witnesses. This always comes from the world of two. So it says the deepest Torah in the world. Edus is when it's two. Chukim means it's mamish carved in, right? That means it's mamish one. So the Chacham is asking, what's going on there? On one hand, mamish, it's carved into the world. And on one hand, it's this tremendous conflict. It's always two, right? You know, on one hand, let's say you, mamish, want to serve God. On one hand, suddenly you feel the whole world is ready to help you. On the other hand, you feel the whole world is against you. It's so hard, right? The answer is again awesomely deep. Why are we not permitted to eat after the yisra-eil? We're not permitted to eat after the yisra-eil because I need the taste of that unbelievable great light forever. You see, after Pesach, I'm really going back into the world of two. After the Seder, the light isn't shining anymore. But mamish, inside, I have this awesome taste of mamish. Baruch hamakom, Baruch mamish. And here just, in a nutshell, you know, I'm telling you this, in taking together all the other Beis Yaakovs, because this special Beis Yaakov happens to be like, he's leaving out a few things which, you know, anybody knows Izhbitza like David and Mimi, you know that it's, if you learn one Torah, you have to learn all the Torahs on Baruch hamakom, Baruch hu to get close. You know what the Chacham says? Why did God tell you to do it? You know what he's asking in the deepest, deepest way? I would like to know what God thinks of me. Am I important to God? Remember we were learning it yesterday. This is so deep, right? What's the whole thing of Pesach? God is shining into me. My roots. God is shining into me. Mamish, God needs me. You know, if I build a whole house to you, I want you to live there, right? I would like to taste one time in my life to have this feeling that God created the world really for me. Mamish for me, right? I would like to feel one time that God gave the whole Torah just for me. So we answer him, yeah. But this is what Pesach is all about. Say the night what is shining, that God has a place for you. And also what is shining, that after Pesach it's over. It's not over, but it's so much inside. I mean, have the matzah in my kishkas, right? And then I can't eat anything else. So the taste of the matzah stays with me, right? It's not lying on the plate. I don't see it. Inside. And I have to tell you, this is a very important Torah to remember, the Torah from Izhbitza. There's a Torah, it says, the whole Torah is in my stomach. He says, this is matzah. When I eat matzah, basically I'm putting the whole Torah inside of me. Okay, now listen to the steps. What is chukim? What does it mean it's carved in? You know what is carved in? It's not like I thought it's very easy because it's carved in, so you do it. Listen, let's say I have to eat is carved into the world, right? I don't have to overcome anything when I want to eat, right? When I have to sleep, this is chukim. God created the world that I have to sleep. The chukim of the Torah are different. The chukim of the Torah is that I have this inside longing that I want to do it. It's carved in, but very, very, very deep. This is so deep, you know. You know, sometimes you love somebody very much and you tell them, you know, your mom is carved into my heart, right? You know what that means? So deep, you know. Gevalt is so deep, right? So I'll ask you, is it carved in like the need to eat or to sleep? On one hand, it's stronger. On one hand, no. Right? I have to sleep. I have to eat. I don't have to talk to you. See, it's not the same chukim. Like, you know, the Gemara says God created the world with chukim. That's a dog. That's a cat. That's a camel. That's a horse. The Torah has edus and chukim. Edus is when I'm in the world of tunis, and chukim is to remind me, to push me inside, that there's a world of oneness. And the world of oneness is, what's my deepest oneness? I would love to know, Mamash, where am I one with God? Where am I one with the Torah? And you see what the Chacham is asking? Why me? Why did God tell me? I mean, it says to you. What is it there? And how come I don't feel it more? See, it says, on one hand it's edus, that means it's two, and then it's chukim, means it's carved in. So we tell him tonight is your biggest night. Because tonight what is shining, You have to take in so much. Let me ask you something, friends. When are you closest to the holy wall? Is it while you stand by the holy wall? Or when you walk away? You know what happens when you stand by the holy wall? You're standing before this particular stone, right? When you walk away, Mama should take the whole wall with you, right? And something deeper. When you stand by the holy wall, you're standing before just a broken wall from the Beis HaMikdash. When you walk away, you're taking with you the third Beis HaMikdash. Right? So he says, deep inside, just remember learning, deep inside, the redemption of the world is already there. Deep inside, the light of Mashiach is already shining. And one more very deep thing, what's the difference between medicine and the Torah? Medicine, unless I learn it, I don't know it. You know what the Torah is? Even if we don't know a word, the whole Torah is inside of me. Remember, the Izhbitza says, what is the greatest bracha I can give you? He says, the greatest bracha in the world is you should feel at home with the Torah.
Who said that?
The Izhbitza, yeah. According to me, what's an assimilated Jew? An assimilated Jew is somebody who never doesn't feel at home anymore with Yiddishkeit. You might do it. Then, sometimes I meet Yidden, they don't even go Yom Kippur to shul, right? When it comes to anything Jewish, they feel at home, right? Something unbelievable, right? Baruch hamakom, it's my place, right? It's my place, right? And you see what the Holy Wall is all about? Every Yid has a place there. It's not to be believed, right? You know why? Remember, we're learning, it begins from the Holy of Holies in Yerushalayim. And Yerushalayim is a place where I realize when God created the world, He created the world for me. Let's learn one more, the rasha.
So what did you say? That the greatest rasha she gives someone is to be at home with the Torah or to be at home with the Yiddishkeit?
Everything, to be at home in his own home, right? I think I told you, you need so many Rebbes. Od chamishtakot, vanim. Heilige Rebbe, od chamishtakot. I think I shared with you. You hear Mickey, when I was 18 years old, or 19, I had to be in Switzerland, and I'm sitting in a train from Zurich to Geneva. I must have been maybe older. I don't remember. But, I was just like beginning. And I was asleep, it's a long ride. What?
You one day off.
Yeah, right. And then I wake up and I see a very outstanding gentleman sitting opposite me. And sometimes people are so broken they need someone to talk to. So the person starts talking to me. And I told him I'm learning yeshiva, How you eat, right? He says to me, do you know? Today I would have taken his address and I didn't know. He says, I want you to know, he says, you don't know me, so I can tell you everything. He says, I want you to know I'm one of the richest people in the world. So you think you have everything, right? He says, you're a young man, you're just beginning. I have nothing. I have a house in Geneva by the lake. I have a house in Rio de Janeiro on the beach. I have a house in Paris. My wife is so busy taking care of the 3 houses that I never see her. My children are just busy to spend my money. And do you know I am? I'm a homeless person. Never. Stop invited him to come to your car. I didn't know then. But it got into my bones. You know what it is? The Chacham Mamash, he wants to be a Yid, right? He wants to learn. But he wants to know, what is my place in Yiddishkeit? You know, today a lot of people, you know, they want to come back to Yiddishkeit. Oh, what's my place? How important I am? How important am I to God? So we tell him, Nomish, it's a good night you asked. You see, on Pesach, just remember, it's not the vessels. Seder night is when everything is inside stuff. You see, when it comes to outside, to big words in vessels, then children don't understand it. When it comes to inside, right? Gevalt, they know. They know the deepest, right? They know the deepest. I mean, I'm sure everyone has. Oh, I have to tell you something awesome. I don't know if I didn't tell David, I didn't tell Mickey yet. The young lady in Florida told me an unbelievable story. She says, my sister is married, has a boy of 3, and then she had another baby. So this boy of 3 says, when you bring the baby home, I told you, I have to be the first one to talk to him, and I have to talk to him alone. Okay, so they had this little, how do you call that? Intercom, and they're listening. So they put the baby in the middle of the room, and this boy of 3 goes up to him. He says, listen, brother, I'm here already for 3 years. And I'm beginning already to forget what God is all about. Can you please tell me? That's awesome. That's awesome, you know. What an neshama, right? Gevalt, right? It's about Shem Tov story. Then I heard one more Gevalt story. This young man who was a guitar player told me, hey, Shabbos. So this guitar player is playing guitar, and after the concert, a little boy comes up to him, 4 years old, and he says, I also play guitar, you know. Colleague, good. Then he says to him, what do you do when the string breaks? And he says, I keep on playing. And he goes, what do you do when 2 strings break? I mean, for a boy of 4, it's not to be believed, the genius. He says, I continue to play. 3, 4. You need at least 2 to make any noise, right? So he says, what do you do when all the strings are broken? Well, they can't play. The little boy of 4 says, I want you to know, I can play even when all the strings are broken. It's an unbelievable Torah. A little Mashiach, right? Chacham. Let's just learn for 1 minute the rasha, then we make a little stop because I'm going to talk to my rabbi. Trevor, this is mamish so beautiful. We're on page 28. I have to tell you something. This Torah, I'm trying my utmost to bring it a little bit down to the world. It's so deep, you know. Basically, maybe one day we'll be privileged, mamish, translate everyone's, because it's awesome, the depth. But anyway, friends, what is bugging the rasha? What's bugging the rasha? Because the whole Torah begins Baruch hamakom, Baruch hamakom. Friends, I want you to open your hearts because this is so beautiful. Why is this rasha a rasha? You think he is a rasha because he doesn't want to do good? He is a rasha because he tried to do good and he did not feel God's presence. Baruch hu, right? I'm a discuss you, right? I didn't feel his presence, right? He says to them, "More avoided as lochem. Why are you working so hard?" Obviously, God does not want to reveal himself. And all your Torah mitzvahs doesn't bring God closer to the world. So why are you doing it? I'm saying inside. Since God is called who? He, that means God is hidden. That means God is not interested in what's happening in this world. Why are you working so hard? He says like this. He says, if God really wants us to work, he would make it easy for us. You know how deep this is? Like the world is deep, right? And when I see that people have to work so hard, go through so much pain to serve God, you know, this is so deep. You know, imagine someone wants to meet me, right? And I really don't want to meet them. So what do? I say, when do you want to come? 2 o'clock. I can't 2. Would you come 3? He says, I can't. Then he says to me, can I come 8? I don't have time. If I don't want to meet them, make it so hard for them that they stop coming, right? He says, if God wants us to work for him, why is he making it so hard? Why is God so hidden? Why is God so far? And just listen to the depth. You know what the depth of it is? You see, the rasha is a person who tried so hard. The rasha tried so hard. I have to inject here a story, which is awesome, which some of you remember, but I didn't say Brother Mickey yet. It's a gevalt story. When I was in the Sifter, there was a boy. I was in Besnabush. I was maybe 15, 16. He was maybe 20. This boy, Mamish, was so edel. He, Mamish, was learning day and night, and he must have been going to the mikveh maybe 5, 6 times a day. I remember one Friday they came out from the mikveh, and there the superintendent of the mikveh somehow passed by with a real bad smelling garbage pail. And this garbage pail touched this boy when he came out from the mikveh. He ran right back. He ran right back. His mom was like, and he was learning. Many years later, I meet him again. Tells me a story. It's awesome. He says, do you know how hard I tried? I tried so hard. So hard. It didn't go. I left the yeshiva and I rolled down all the way. Not only on a Jewish level, I didn't keep Shabbat or anything, on a human level. I didn't work, I was just doing nothing. I got myself a black girlfriend in the Bronx, and she was working, and I lived off her money. And I was home all day. Who's David Curtis? That's it. He says, what can I do? That's how I lived. Nothing. Mamish was a garbage pail. And now listen to this. He says, when I was in the Sifter, I don't know if some of you know Williamsburg, there's a Clevelander mikveh. A Clevelander Rebbe. He's a brother, you know, there's a Sefer, the one who has this whole 16 volumes of mikvah, Reb Yomtiv, its name. Who's a big mikveh? Mashim shel Rebbe שמתקים מקוואות בכל העולם כולו. הלניץ הרבי, קליבלנד ההלניץ הרבי, משהו, האח שלו. So I was going to the Cleveland mikveh, right? Then I didn't go anymore. Listen to this. One day I had to buy something. I'm going out from my watching television and doing nothing. I go out on the street in the Bronx. It was a black neighborhood because I was living with my black girlfriend. And I'm standing on a street corner. It was a beautiful day. I look up to the sky, and suddenly, Mamish, it hit me. I thought to myself, gevalt, what kind of a yid I wanted to be. What kind of a servant of God I wanted to be. Where I am now. The end. And just thought to myself, gevalt, I'm not even a Jew anymore. I'm nothing. At that moment, a big truck, you know, those heavy trucks, there's a black brother, the driver, stops. And he says to me, are you Jewish? I say, yes. He says, come. I'm jumping on the truck. This is a Mashiach story. He's driving down to Brooklyn. He stops in front of the Cleveland mikveh. And he tells me to leave. It's not to be believed, right? And then I says, when I realized how much God is caring for me, that God sends Eliyahu Novi in the truck to pick me up in the Bronx to bring me back to the mikveh. Now he's, as I always say at the end, now he's so cool, he doesn't talk to me anymore, you know. Now he does. I'm only joking here. You see, the rasha says, I tried so hard. And God doesn't give me a sign. God is a stranger to me. Baruch hu. And here comes the answer.
So the Chacham doesn't feels it, or he doesn't necessarily feel it?
No, you see, the Chacham goes, Baruch hamakom. He feels God's presence. But he cannot understand one of the two. If the Torah is carved in, but you have to tell me. And if it's not carved in, you see, he feels. See, the Chacham has a conflict between the world of two and the world of one. He feels God's presence, but he feels also there's so much two-ness in the world. And the Torah is Edus, obviously it's two. And then it's one. Chukim is one, right? He says, if Chukim is mamish one, why did you have to tell me all the time?
And the rasha knows it's one?
No, wait. The rasha, his problem is completely different. The rasha says he doesn't care for one or two. The rasha says, why is God on the discuss here? Why is he so far? And you see, obviously it's not that he doesn't believe in God. If he wouldn't believe in God, he wouldn't be here. You know what it means? The deep inside, mamish, the rasha needs God's presence much more than the Chacham. Because maybe what the Chacham considers God's presence in the world, for the rasha, there's nothing, right? You know, I always tell people, you think the people who get divorced love each other less than the people who get divorced? In the country. The people who get divorced because they wanted to be so close, they didn't go. Right? Something else, right? So the rasha wants so much to be close to God. And he says, why do you make it so hard on me? Why are you hiding all the time? So we just have 2 more seconds, Regel. Auf Ate Hake Eshino. Kishinai medagdekin esamacha. Let me first tell you what he says. He says, you know what teeth are? Teeth are to break down the food which should get into my stomach properly. He says, did you ever chew Yiddishkeit? Did you ever chew the Torah? Did you ever bring it down into your heart? He says, if you would bring it down into your heart, you would realize how close you are to God when you do it. You know what I'm telling you? It's true God is hidden from the world, but you also did it in a hidden way. You see, because God is as close to me as I'm to Him, right? If I'm learning Torah, with Advim Siras Nevis, and I feel God's presence there. He said, you know what you did? You just swallow it. You don't chew it. And he says, it's true, we go through a lot of pain. But believe me, it doesn't hurt. You know, if Neshama Dai asks me a favor, and it comes on very, very hard, I don't feel it. Because I'm just so glad to do it, right? I tell him, if you feel the pain and the hardness of doing it, that means you didn't do it yet from the depth of your heart. Now listen to this so deep. There is 2 ways of being hidden. The who. His problem is who. God is hidden. And this is so beautiful in Izhbitza. There is a way of being hidden because he's far away. I don't know where he is. Or maybe it's hidden because it's so deep in my heart. It's so deep, deep, deep inside. What I'm telling him, yes, it's true, God is Alma Diskasya. But not Iskasya far away, but Iskasya, it's hidden inside of you. If you would mamish, chew it. You know what happens if you eat food and you don't chew it, it doesn't get inside of you. It's flushed out right away, right? It doesn't become part of you. If you would let Yiddishkeit be part of you, inside, gevalt would you feel God's presence. Okay, I have to make a 5-minute stop, but anybody wants to say something? What time is it now? 12:20 already. Chutzpah, who made the clock go so fast?
You.
Kelly, you want to say something fast before we make a little break for 2 minutes, or not so much? Yeah? I'm sorry?
The way you're explaining the rasha now,
Yeah?
the second quality of the rasha, that maybe he's so close, he wants so much more. It's
That's
actually
it.
a quality of a tzaddik.
He is deeper than the tzaddik, right? He wants more of God's presence.
The closer you are to anything, the more you want, and the more you realize that you're distant from. If you're explaining the rasha, the second aspect of the rasha, that if you actually want to first of all lower it, it's because actually it's a quality of his closeness, which lends me to think the Izhbitza is talking about himself.
I wouldn't have the chutzpah to say it, but if you say it, Mickey, you have big shoulders.
You're too close to say.
No, you're 100% right. Mickey is saying gevalt Torahs, it's true. It's crazy, by all the Rebbes, the rasha comes out always much better than the Chacham, Because the rasha is a bigger neshama than the Chacham. But you say that the Heilig Izhbitza felt more identity with the rasha, yeah, I'm sure that's true, yeah.
I think any person anybody who's really close is aware of this.
That's true. What do you want to say, Lana?
I just forget if the answer to the rasha is that he should use his teeth more to understand why his teeth are not out his teeth.
No, you say you don't use them. Why do you have teeth, right? You better use them. I don't mean I go up to Rosh and knock out his teeth, obviously, right? But I'm telling him the way you talk, you don't need teeth. Yeah. Yeah. But can I tell you a Belzer Torah which is different? It's not maybe this kind of depth. Listen to this. Rasha is 3 letters, right? On both sides is Resh and Ayin, which is bad. And then the Shin in the middle. And the Shin is his connection to Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. He might be very bad on the outside, but inside you're still connected to Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. So the Belzer said, Haki es Shinov, knock out the Shin, Tell him, let your Shin shine, don't let the outside prevent you from being what you can be. It's a gevalt Torah, Yeah. There's also a Torah, it says, Shinov the Emor Loi. What do you mean? He's talking to him. What means the Emor Loi? I don't remember which Shagod I saw this. The Emor Loi and tell the father of the rasha. The rasha is sitting by his father's table, right? So I'm sitting there, and I overhear what it says. So I tell the rasha, listen, knock out his teeth, right? Whatever it is. The Emor Loi. And I'm telling the father, Ilahu Yisham, if you would have been there, because you don't know how to treat your children. Because obviously your little boy is looking for something so deep. The way you gave him over Yiddishkeit obviously wasn't deep enough. That's a gevalt Torah. They're more alike, I don't know how good it is. It's a gevalt. I'll tell you something. It happens all the time. I remember I was once in Vancouver. There was this big gathering to bring peace to the planet. And there were mamish, all religions, was a gevalt, right? I don't know if you remember, it was 76. I went from San Francisco. I don't know if you were there. You didn't go with me then. Yogi Bajani, when we had to speak, it was unbelievable. It was like satellite. It was awesome, right? So I was there. It was from Wednesday to Wednesday. So Shabbos, I said to some of the kids, would you like to come with me to shul? I'll never do it again. You know what they did stupidly. We walked for 1 hour from the Hyatt House in shul. I don't want to say anything. So you would say that the she-eino were in shul, including the rabbi and the Chacham, they are mamish ehrliche Yidden, and all those hippolach who completely for Yiddishkeit, they're not, right? And I realize that the toenails of those hippolach want more of God, want more of Yiddishkeit than they have there. Right? Davening the talking was so loud that you didn't know if it's Musaf Roshona or if it's Echad Tisha B'Av, right? And then the cutest thing was, this was mamish hilarious, I didn't know that the rabbi organized that the Chazan should not get another contract for another year. And the Chazan wanted to organize that the rabbi shouldn't get another contract. So it was in the middle of Kedusha, Nusar Ashkenaz Naritzcho, the wife of the Chazan yells from the women's side to her husband, stop davening and don't daven in the presence of the rabbi who wants to throw you out. And he yells back to his wife in the middle of the He says to her, you talk to the wife of the rabbi, don't talk to me. It was like a Charlie Chaplin movie. And then the rabbi says, quiet, peace, respect. I'm looking at this holy hippalach, I was dying from shame. That's a service. So where does Hashem? I can only tell you, from all the kids I took with me, sad enough, they were not interested. I said, if this is what Yiddishkeit is, who needs it, right? There was only one little boy who came also 14 years old. He didn't see the non-Yiddishkeit in that service. I was in touch with him for many years. Baruch Hashem, eventually his parents sent him to a day school because he didn't feel yet how stupid it was, You see, the rasha, obviously he was in the yeshiva. The rasha was learning, he was serving God. There was no presence of God there. So we tell him, you know what you need? You need something so much deeper. But for that, you have to use your own teeth. Don't let Yiddishkeit filter into you from your Rosh Yeshiva's teeth. And not even your Rebbe's teeth. Because if you would mamish put Yiddishkeit in on your level, you would mamish feel so close. I have to talk to this holy Rebbe for 1 minute. Let's not make it stop for 10 years here, just for a few minutes. Thank you, Mickey, for joining us. My greatest honor.
Another try for son.
What? Okay, this is mamish the deepest Torah in the world. You see, David reminded me, and they didn't make it because I'm so a little bit afraid of repeating myself. I always assume that all have in all my Torahs of Pesach, so maybe not. David was right. I mean, I realize, I'm sure that you see that it's not like the word says the Chacham is the best, Chacham, the rasha is bad, the tam is an idiot, and the lishol is hopeless. Listen to what you're talking about. We're going higher and higher and higher. The Chacham is okay, rasha is better, tam is even higher, and the lishol is the highest. Okay, so let's go over again. I'll make it very fast. I'm not going to learn inside because then we'll never. Just right now, David says in this session we should, at least finish a little bit the 4 sons. The Chacham feels the presence of God. I want you to know something. You learned a lot of times. Sometimes missionaries come up to me and they say, "I know God. Do you?" Right? I have to tell you something. During the Yom Kippur War, sometimes you're supposed to be tolerant, but there are moments when not so tolerant. During the Yom Kippur War, coming here, if you remember, I had the great privilege that the Air Force invited me. The war broke out. I get a call from the Air Force, you got to come and play for the troops. Gevalt, right? Gevalt, right? They're the tzaddikim who are shining in heaven, right? So I'm jumping on a plane and have an aisle seat. Behind me is a bishop. Okay, at night I couldn't sleep, and the bishop couldn't sleep either. You walk up and down. So I say, "Brother, how you doing?" "All right." So we talk to each other. And I say, "Listen, brother, really, I love you either way. You have a right. You have a right to do what you want, to believe what you want. But just for my private information, Are you coming to Israel to help us? Or are you coming to do a little missionary work? And he was cute, you know. He could have said, I'm coming to help. I said, I'll tell you the truth. I'm coming to missionize. I said, listen, if this is what you believe in, you have a right, you know. God has no police. But as a good friend, let me tell you something. If I would be you, I'd be a little afraid. You are coming to bring us the light of Jesus, right? You see, for a person who lives in utmost darkness, it's like a flashlight. Just a little light on it, right? I want you to know, Monday and Thursday when we take out the Torah, it's not a flashlight. It's psychedelic light. But what we feel on Shabbos, phew, what we feel on Yom Kippur, blows your mind. How dare you, with a little flashlight to come as Eden, who's full of light. He says, do you know what the lowest soldier feels when he's fighting in the Holy Land? You have to come and tell us. He says, you go to Germany and bring them some light, right? To Israel you're coming. Now when God's light is shining from one corner of the world to the other. He says, if I would be you, I'd be afraid. You see what it is? The question is, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a flashlight? Are you looking for electric light? Are you looking for the greatest light in the world? The Chacham has, from boy goes to yeshiva, is learning, but obviously he's not a simple boy, right? Epis. Yes, Baruch hamakom. Shall we learn it? The rasha needs more of God. You remember we're learning a lot of times. I always say, I'll never be as from as my zayde, but what I need of God is so much more than what my zayde needed. So much more. You hear? So the rasha needs of God more than the Chacham. And the rasha realizes how much God is still hiding from him. You know why? Because the rasha wants, the moment he opens the Gemara, he wants like the light is going on, and you know how much you have to learn till the light is shining. You have to break every bone in your head until you get something, right? He says, why is God making it so hard? Obviously he doesn't like what I'm doing. Okay, so the rasha. The time is even deeper, and this is really Izhbitza Teaching. Everybody knows that Odom, Aleph Dalet Mem, is Bigematria Ma. Same like Ma, right? Ma. And you know what Ma is? Shem Ma, God is one of the Shemus of the way God created the world. Shema Mamish. I'm completely annihilated before what I see. Remember I told you yesterday, I walk on Eastern Parkway, and the Chida says to me, where are you going? I says, to the Baruch Rebbe. He says, I know the guy. Why? He knows his name's Rabbi Shneis, he knows where he lives, he knows the guy, right? Knows nothing, right? There is sometimes a God knowledge. Moshe Rabbeinu says, "V'nachnu more," right? Because Moshe Rabbeinu's God knowledge is so that he doesn't exist anymore. Right? And here, I want you to open your hearts, the deepest. There's yodei-a and there's Torah. There's in Zohar Kodesh and everyone, Rab Nachman 1,000 times. Torah is God is existing, but I'm also existing. But I love God. I'm His whatever it is, Ovet Hashem. You know, yodei-a is that I'm not even existing. You know when we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, I close my eyes, You know what it means? I stop to exist. For one moment, I'm not existing. In God's presence, I'm not existing. You know, it's the same between people, you know. Sometimes I can love somebody very much. I'm still existing, they're still existing, and that's it. What is the power of children, little children? What they do to their parents? They're over the snakes, but right? You stop to exist, right? You stop to exist. You're not there anymore, right? Yodei-a, right? The older the kids get, the less yodei-a they have. So also our relationship to them stops being yodei-a, it becomes more yodei-a. I think I told you, those two yodei-a, yodei-a. I had in my shul a yeke, Mr. Fritz, and it was hilarious the way he's following Chacham. Okay, first he looks at his pants, they were almost clean before a shona, and especially the crease, you know, it's gevalt. And the things if I fall down on the ground, it get dirty, so he brings about newspapers, New York Times on the last 10 years, and he covers half the shoe with paper. Then the way he goes down, he has two chairs, make sure he goes down slow, and then he goes on the floor, make sure his pants are okay, bows down, gets up. I mean, he mamish, as he said, you know, it will blow his mind. Mr. Fritz is bowing down before God, right? But he doesn't stop being Fritz. The Moshe Rebbe, you know, the old Lubavitch Rebbe, I never seen him for a crime because never he was paralyzed, he couldn't. And this Rebbe somehow, I never saw him for a crime. I saw the Moshe Rebbe falling crime. The Moshe Rebbe was 6'2". Tall. He's a very big person. Comes to falling crime. Mamish fell down. They were bringing all kinds of carpets because the Mamish Rebbe hurt himself. He was non-existing. Yodei-a didn't exist, right? See, the Heilige Tam is asking the deepest question. The Tam is asking the deepest question, Ma, means I'm non-existent, right? And Zois is I see it. How can you, an Odom is b'gematria Ma? That means the real emissary Yaakov Avinu, Ishtam Yosef Aholim, he was sitting in both tents, Yodei-a and yodei-a. He was sitting in the tent of Ma. Vanach Mo, I'm nothing, I'm not even here. And Zois, for Zois are Torah, right? How can you do both together? You see, it is possible, first to have Yodei-a and then have yodei-a, that I understand. But the Tam wants it every second of his life. He wants to be Yodei-a, he wants Ma, completely annihilation before God. You know, I don't want to say anything bad. Anybody has been Amshinov. The Amshinov is on the level of Yodei-a all the time, right? Right? He's non-existent. He has Yodei-a not only with God. He has Yodei-a before every person who talks to him. He's non-existent. Mamish. It's a miracle how he lives. So the Tam is asking, because what is the real Odom, the real Odom b'gematria Ma, when I'm non-existing, but it's also not true. God wants me to exist. You know, Shema Yisrael I say twice a day, and that's it. Because if I'm living on Yodei-a, I cannot do what I have to do. God wants me to live. So you know what you're telling him? I tell you what, logically, there is no way. You know what I mean to say? Even for God it's hard. If I'm going to do something, I don't have enough strength. I have to put my whole strength into it. He says this is so deep that humanly speaking, even God has to put his whole strength into it. That means, the Gemara says, the Quran says, was it hard for God to create the world? No. God creates the world. But this is coming from such a high place that in this world, the Zohar Kodesh says, imagine I have one little glass and I want to put in the ocean. Hard, right? That means even God has a problem. Even God has a problem. That means he does it, but it's b'chol zekat. So he says the way God took us out of Egypt, that we Yidden, God gave us vessels. Mamish v'zois ha-Torah. Mamish, I understand it, and I know it, and yet I'm completely annihilated. Won't you know something so deep? What's Torah Shabbat Peh all about? On one hand, it's my Torahs, right? I understand it. Chacham. So he just adds one more Torah to it. This is the deepest. You see, the Torah was given on Shavuos. You know what was really given to us on Pesach is the koyach hatfilah, to daven. Why did God take us out of Egypt? Because we prayed so much, right? How was Yitzchak born? Avraham Avinu was the one who was machadish tefillah, right? Remember, Zohar Kodesh says, why didn't Noah pray? Because he didn't know it exists. He couldn't believe that it exists. How can a human being tell God what to do, right? And logically, it's 100% right. Avraham Avinu, that's the chiddush of Avraham Avinu, that tefillah helps. And Pesach is tefillah, right? By the Seder, as much as the Haggadah is Torah, but the Haggadah is tefillah, right? So he says, b'choizik yot. And it's also so beautiful. Where do you have to put in more energy? I mean, when you learn, you put energy in your head energy. Then you daven, it's kol atzmoisa tamana. Mamish b'choizik yot. And tefillah is the combination of both. It's yodei-a, and yet mamish, I'm talking to God. It's me and God. It's mamish me and God, right? But again, it's not the me, the ordinary me who's making a phone call or buying ice cream. It's the ma of me, right? The real Adam, the highest level I can reach. Okay, this sounds beautiful. She-eino lishol is even higher. He doesn't ask about yodei-a, but yodei-a. He says, gevalt, his God knowledge is so deep that he can't see anything. And you know what it is? There are no vessels in the world for this kind of God knowledge. And I want you to open your heart. Even basically, the Torah has no vessels for this kind. Because it's deeper than annihilation. It's just like, can't believe it's true. I'll tell you something. I have no other way of explaining it. You see miracles, blows your mind, right? I want you to know something like, when the Shomala was born, so long story, she was born as a Torah. So after she was born, it's not to be believed, I mean, the miracle. Suddenly a little girl comes out. It's the cutest little creature in the world, right? She was so small, and she had just cute little fingers and little nails. And she wasn't crying. Neshama did not cry at all when she was born. She was just smiling, mamish. for some story, And it was unbelievable, I mean, miracle is not the word, right? It's not clear as Yamsu, something is happening in the ocean. Just my child, right? So, it was clear to me that I will never ever be able to do something wrong. Said enough, it wore off a little bit, a lot. But for that moment, it was not yodei-a, it was not yodei-a Torah. It was deeper than non-existent. You see something which mamash completely shook up. Mamash completely shook up. she-eino lishol. He says, Rabbi Shem, I don't know how I can ever continue to live. Like, gevalt. Reb Shlomo was on that level. Because his thing was she-eino lishol. Anybody learns to slave is mamash she-eino lishol. You know what that means? He blew his mind that there's one God every second. I don't know if you remember, one Monday afternoon he says to us, Gabba, mamash fast, call in all the Yidden to shul, I have some unbelievable to tell them. So, you hear it's unbelievable to tell, they're coming to shul, running, and Rabbi Levi goes on the beamer, and so what do you have to say? Mamash says, I want you to know, mamash, there really is one God. And he's not an idiot, right? But you know what it is? The way he blew his mind that there is one God. So Rabbi Izhbitza Teaching said this was the level of David HaMelech, David Malka Mashiach. Because David HaMelech says, Ki ani yadati ki godel Hashem. I know that there was one God. So he says, David HaMelech, nobody else knows. But he says it was blowing his mind all the time. Can't believe it's true, I want you to know something. You can blow your mind over every word of the Torah, and you can blow your mind over the fact that God gave us the Torah. I can learn everything about Judaism, or I can just blow my mind that I'm a Yid. It's deeper. And this is Seder night. Seder night is arba-ah, the head Izhbitza is arba-ah. God says, I will give you vessels for that. God says, I'll open gates for you. Haynu shetiftach lo klei kibul lahavona azayim hu yemakev yedeh. Okay, I want to just go over fast again. The Chacham intellectually is the highest. But you know what I'm telling him? You know why you're not permitted to eat anything after the afikomen? Because the taste should stay with you. And you know what you are missing? You're learning, you're doing, but you're not tasting it. It doesn't get into your kishkas. And again, like he says, he asked me about chukim. Yeah, it's all inside, deep inside. The rasha, his problem is, and again, the rasha is higher. And just remember, the rasha is not a person who does not want to be a Jew, or who doesn't want to serve God. The rasha is he wants to. But his vision of God is so deep, and he didn't find it. He didn't find it, right? You know, there was once, without quoting myself, but it was true. I quote. There was a big article about the hippies in '67. There's a big magazine, this super intellectual magazine. How's it called? Forgot already. So they had a big thing that today young people are godless people, and that's why they go to the synagogue. You know, this article was printed big, And my letter was just put in the bag, so nobody read it, but I read it. Anyway, at least one Jew read it. Echad. I said, you know why young people don't go to shul? Not because they're not looking for God, but because they are. I said, the shul is not empty when nobody's there, but gevalt are they empty when they are full, you know? And I said, God created us in our image, in His image, and our parents want to un-image us, or want us to be their image. And I said, the hippies are looking for God. We're looking for something to fill their hearts, and above all, they would like to be God's image, but they don't know how to do it because nobody's showing it to them. It was the end of my letter, but there was no response. Nobody responded. Now what can I do? You hear, friends, the rasha has problems because he doesn't feel close enough to God. The tam is really something else. The tam is not problems. The tam is somebody who wants to reach the highest level in Yiddishkeit. He wants to be the Odom HaSholem. He wants to be Vanachnemo like Moshe Rabbeinu. And he wants to be the Torah. You know, I want you to know something. There is nothing like the Torah is so individual. You know, the Rambam can say the same thing like Rashi, but Rashi says it different. The Ran and the Rashba say the same thing. And again, gevalt, it's another world, right? The Rif and the Rambam sometimes say the same thing. It's gevalt, right? See, the Tam says on one hand, it's mamish ma, I'm non-existent, and Zeus. It's my Torah, right? Yosef Aholim. So we tell him, you don't get there logically. There's mamish b'choy the kyad. Mamish the Rebbe Shem took us. The Rebbe Shem gives us an unbelievable, miraculously that I can be completely given to God, and I don't stop being an individual. Mamish. It's my head. It's my idea. You know, Omar Abaye in the Gemara, Abaye said, listen, don't mention the name Abaye. I annihilate myself before God. No, it's Abaye's Torah. The she-eino the lishol is something else. He doesn't even want to be the Odom HaSholem. Shabbos. Is not his problem. His problem is not what he wants to be. He mamish blows his mind every second. But the deepest question is, how can he exist in the world? The question is, how does Reb Yitzhak Baditchever live from day to day? And here I have to tell you just one little Torah of Reb Yitzhak, which is gevalt, heard it in Bobov. You know, Reb Yitzhak was like, you know, when someone's gevalt and the rest of the world doesn't know how to relate to it, right? It's too much. So Reb Yitzhak was way out, you know, like, I don't know if you know the machine, it was a goen adiv. You know, the Balatani was a big goen, but not Reb Yitzhak, right? You know, one Shavuos Balatani went to Reb Yitzhak, then he came back and he says, Mamish, the koilos were broken from Hasina were in Baditchev. The thunder and the lightning of the giving of the Torah were in Baditchev. So someone says to him, Rebbe, you mean Mamish, physically it was thunder and lightning? So he says in Yiddish, frag nicht, ist schon gut gewesen. You know? Don't ask, it was good, you know? But anyway, so some Rebbe, what? Al tishar, you're tough, al tishar. Yeah. Reb Yitzchak, the head of Reb Yitzchak, a Rebbe comes to investigate. So in the middle of the davening, Reb Yitzchak in Talis and Film goes into the kitchen and he follows him and let's see what he's doing. Reb Yitzchak says, what are we having for lunch? You remember the story of the gevalt? What are we having for lunch? Milchig or fleischig? Tell him milchig. Takes a spoon and takes off those, the covers from the pots and begins stirring the soup, and he says, what's going on here? The milk isn't good. The milk isn't strong enough. It needs much stronger milk, And he goes to another pot and he says, I don't like the milk. It has to be so much stronger, This won't make any good soup. In the middle of the davening, and he's mamish hanging around the soup, yelling about the milk. And this Rebbe is thoroughly disgusted, First of all, you're not permitted. After the davening is over, Nebuch, a little broken woman, is standing by the door of the shul. And she says, Rebbe, I'm nursing my baby. But Nebuch, I'm so poor, I have no food. And my milk is so thin that my baby is dying from hunger. Reb Yitzchak says to her, my dear woman, my dear lady, I fixed your milk already during the davening. That's something else, an awesome story, You see, Reb Yitzchak, he is mamish en lishol at Pesach. You know what someone said to Reb Yitzchak? Every minute he is alive is a miracle. How can a neshama like this be in this world, right? He eats, he sleeps, he lives like a human being, he has children. So we answer him, B'choizik yod, Haitzon Hashem Mitzrayim. God is utmost strength. I want you to know something. Do we have time? 2 more minutes? Yeah, 5 more minutes. I heard in vision it's a gevalt Torah. Remember I told you once, usually this was in the 60s when I was going to Israel, I would first go to Switzerland for a week, then to a Greek island for a week, Mamisha lived it up. I was by myself, I wasn't there yet, so got to see the world. Okay, I'm arriving in Zurich, I'm going to the train station, I want to go to a little way out village in Switzerland. Suddenly I see a Chassidish Yid in front of me. I asked him, where are you going? He says, the Heilige Izhbitza Teaching is in St. Moritz. Well, I'm going to St. Moritz. So I bought a ticket to St. Moritz, one way or the other, and it was Pashas Shabbos Chazon. So he says like this. He said, basically he says it's a Torah from his holy brother, the Heilige Reb Lezer. Eile Advorim, Megala Amukah says, Eile Advorim, Eile is Roshetevis Avak Loshen Hara. That's what the Megala Amukah says. Here comes his holy brother's Torah. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu break the tablets? Why did he say Mechenino Misivcha Shekasavta? He says to God, according to your Torah, the Yidden have to be wiped out because they made the golden calf. I don't want to have my name in that Torah. A Torah which tells you that Yidden have to be wiped out, even if it's because they made the golden calf. I don't want to be in that Torah. He says, a Torah which makes one Yid look bad, take me out from the Torah. It's gevalt, no? Only a Rebbe can say such words, right? So he says, Moshe Rabbeinu gave us a Torah. And everybody knows that Dvorm is mamish already like Moshe Mepiatzma was already the deepest Torah in the world. Moshe Rabbeinu says, I want you to know something. The Torah I gave you so far is full of Lashon Hara. Right? Because it says in the Torah, Yid has to keep Shabbos. Then you see a Yid doesn't keep Shabbos. The Torah says Lashon Hara on him, right? the Torah says it doesn't keep Shabbos. So he says, Moshe Rabbeinu says, I want to give you a new Torah. Not only I don't want the Torah to say lishon hara, I want the Torah not even to say avak lishon hara. He says, because if you really learn the Torah, then the Torah doesn't say anything bad about another Yid. But just because you don't learn it properly. If you mamish learn it, the Rebbe should Torah now. It's gevalt, right? You know what it is? Pesach, God takes me out of Egypt, makes a Yid out of me. See you later. But you know how, but Eliyahu says, Eliyahu only lives forever. I don't want you ever to think that God took us out of Egypt. Then I walk out of Egypt and I say, this one is no good, this one is no good. Then you're still in Egypt. If you want to know if you're out of Egypt, that you know that the Torah has a place for everyone. There's a place in the Torah. Remember, we're learning it, Rabbi Gatschok is the head of the Reform movement in Cincinnati. And let's say Rav Shach is in Ponevezh. I say Rabbi Gatschok is also admitting that Shach is very important. But the sad thing is that Shach doesn't admit that God needs Rabbi Gatschok. You see, the Arova knows that you need the Lulav. It's only Lulav doesn't want to admit that you need the Arova. So we take the Hadassah and the Arova, we tie to the Lulav. Say, listen, brother Lulav, you think you're a big shot? But then there's one more little Torah, forgetting about all the Torahs, the Chacham and the rasha. Why is the rasha next to the Chacham? Because I tell to the Chacham, you have a neighbor, a rasha, right? And you can't even get through to him. What kind of a Torah are you learning? If I have a Shabbos and I invite somebody non-religious and they don't like it, my Shabbos isn't good enough. But you see, at the end, Reb Shlomo says, has to be clear to us that every one of us are the 4 children. Sometimes I'm a Chacham, sometimes I'm a rasha, sometimes I'm a tam, and sometimes I'm even a she-eino. And the deepest depth is what's that? Yeah? I just want to tell you one more Izhbitza Torah. The Chometz says you have to look at the holes, the choren. How would you say good English? Bechoren, chor in the holes. Maybe there's a hole in the wall. A crack, yeah. I have to look in the cracks also for Chometz. So the Izhbitza says, actually the Zina, you have to be burning Chometz in all the cracks of your soul. When you see something, there's a crack in my soul, must be a big piece of Chometz lying there. Right? Okay, what's happening now? We make a little stop.
Okay.